back to my channel. I'm Jasmine with Linen Bouquet, and I am so excited to show you what I've been working on the last couple weeks. The last couple of videos that I've posted have mostly been a little bit of my sewing space and showing you an introduction and introducing myself, my personality. I'm usually just on Instagram, so I don't show too much of my face there. But on YouTube, it's a must, and I'm really excited to be here on this channel, sharing with you guys what I do here in my sewing space. So, what I've been working on lately has been the Patchy, okay, this name trips me up. I love the quilt, but the name trips me up. It's called the Patchy Pumpkin Farm quilt, and I found it on Instagram. It is designed by White Plains Quilts, and I'm super excited to find this pattern. I was looking for a quilt that I could put in my living room. Surprisingly, I don't have any fall quilts. Most of what I make usually gets given or sold to somebody, or it's in my daughter's rooms because I love to sew for my daughters. They're the whole reason I even do it. But I think it's time to start updating my areas, my living spaces, and I would really love to have multiple quilts per season in my living room to switch out, or even in my bedroom. So that's what I'm focused on right now, is I'm actually in the process of making 2 fall quilts right now, but today I'm showing you the Patchy Pumpkin quilt. With this quilt, I was looking for something that had the classic pumpkin style. I was looking for regular patchwork quilt blocks because paper piecing with such a large lap quilt was gonna be a little too much. I decided to look on Instagram, and I came across this super cute Patchy Pumpkin Farm quilt that I loved instantly. I was looking for something that had the pumpkin look, but with a little bit of a twist, and I think that these blocks really do have that small twist with the stem, and they're a little bit wider and a little bit, a little chubbier, I guess you would say. Chubby little pumpkins, and that's what I really like. I like the pumpkins that are more spread out. Super cute. So then I also noticed that this quilt has these really classic stars, and I love the look of that. It had a little bit of bunching at the bottom, and so I haven't shown this yet. I made this block, and it has the 2 pumpkins and the star. Really, really cute. And you know what? I was actually really proud, because whenever I assembled this pumpkin, you can see all the stripes line up. Can you see that? That's amazing. I was not even sure it was going to work out so well. I thought for sure you would be able to see some seams, but there are 3 pieces of orange fabric here with the lines right here that are lining up with this lighter green pumpkin, and you can't even see a seam. You can't even see a difference in the fabric. They just lined up so perfectly, so that was awesome. Bravo to the quilt designer, because that worked out so great. So yeah, really happy about this block. But this quilt had everything I was looking for, including a very sweet and classic truck, farm truck, that is just adorable. It's a huge block, and I'm going to show you how I assembled it in my commentary on going through the process of it. But it's a great pattern. I had to have it. I had to do it this year, and I thought, what better quilt to display than this quilt, being the first one on my YouTube channel. The assembly for this truck, it was a little tricky, and the fabric, so you can see here, it's all cotton, but this linen colored, it's actually a type of looser woven linen, and it was really hard to sew with. And not because the fabric was difficult to sew through, it's because it shifts so much. And you can kind of see, just as I'm holding it here, that it shifts so much. So that was difficult because some of my blocks were not even coming out straight. So, but that's my fault, not the quilt pattern at all. It's really a great quilt pattern, very detailed, very helpful, and I've enjoyed making it so far. I'm going to show you the clip real quick of me assembling this truck. and I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's helpful. I ran into a couple snags and gave my solutions. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. I'm here at my sewing desk. I am going to be working today on my Patchy Pumpkin Farm quilt, and the pattern is by White Plains Quilts. So I'm really enjoying this pattern so far. I have already made my star blocks, as you can see, and my pumpkin blocks. This is one of the colors that I've used, and they're not trimmed yet. I'm gonna do that whenever I'm done with all the major pieces, but they're coming out really well. And I'm even thinking, I like things really girly and I like bows, so I think I'm gonna add maybe a little bow applique or little detail there whenever I'm done with these. We'll see how fancy I get. And so today I will be sewing the truck block with you guys. I have my pattern here, so I kind of propped up my laptop right here with the pattern. And like I said, it's from White Plains Quilts. I did not make this pattern. I am just sewing it together, and I thought I'd take you guys along, maybe give a sort of review for the quilt pattern, you know, in a respectful way. I don't mean to step on anyone's toes in any way, but you know, it's nice to know how other people feel about patterns and if there's something that you want to buy. I have my fabrics all laid out here. So with this pattern, at the end of all the instructions, there's tiny little cutouts that you can use to place onto your fabric. That way you know what pieces are labeled correctly. I didn't cut them out. I thought, no, I'm usually pretty good about that. I don't usually label my pieces because I can remember mostly where they go. But this one has so many pieces. This quilt pattern has so many that I should have just done it. I should have listened to the recommendation. And so if you have markers, if you have letters already cut out, or the little plastic markers, use those for this quilt because they're going to come in handy and you won't be checking the pattern over and over like I have. But for now, for the truck pattern, I have my fabrics mostly laid out here and some behind me that I'm going to need, and kind of placed in the order that I'm going to be grabbing them. Just to make it a little easier, I have my stitching press here ready to go, my little mini iron all heated up, and my spray bottle. I like to control the amount of water that I'm using on each block. So I have this here. Let's get sewing. Okay, so now that I've sewn a little bit of this block, you can see that the truck is much larger than I expected. Well, this is just the front window and the hood of the truck, and it's pretty big, right? So I might have to bring out my larger ironing board. I was really hoping to avoid it. We'll see how long I can go without it, but I think this is gonna be a really big truck. It's coming out good though so far, so I'm gonna keep on sewing. You see that? I put the top of the wheel on upside down, so now I have to unpick that. Yay! Okay, I just finished the tires and look at how big they are. see that? They're huge. Okay, so you can see I made both the tires. So these are the blocks that I have so far. 2 tires, and I have the cab of the truck and the hood. So it looks like I'm running a little low here with the materials on my desk. I'm gonna get some more, and then we'll continue sewing this. And it looks like this truck block is going to be about, let's see, it's going to finish, oh, it's huge. It's gonna finish at 40 and a half and 22 and a half inches. So that's a really big block. I'm gonna have to pull out my large ironing board also so that we can continue. Alright, so I'm doing the truck bed, the back of the truck, where it has the grates. And you can see right here in the pattern, it recommends that these lines here are lined up with a ruler so that the black part of the grate lines up within each row. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these, and I have a little ruler here. I'm going to go ahead and mark these and make sure that that I'm going to have all of these lining up. That way they're not crooked and it still looks pretty neat, even though this linen fabric is a little bit wonky, and I'm actually not liking how some of these seams are coming out, but I'm trying my best. So these lines should help me here. And so what I'm doing is I'm lining up with this water-soluble pen. Just lining it up, putting a line where it should meet. That way each row is not too far off. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect, but as long as when you look at the quilt, it doesn't look sloppy, it should be fine. Okay. All right. Okay, so you can see my little marks are there, the little blue marks, and I'm going to pin these there so that we're all nice and neat. And I like these tiny, skinny glass pins. They're really slender. Some of them are even really weak, so they bend easily. But I like them because they go through the fabric very easily, and sometimes I even go over them with my machine and it doesn't affect it because of how slender they are. So it's been a few hours now that I've been working on this, and usually I wouldn't sit down and do one whole block this large in one sitting, but I'm trying to record it for you guys, and you can already see the sun has been changing direction. It's already going right past the house next to us. This has taken a while. Like I said, it's going to be about 40 inches by 20, so that's almost the size of the quilt. I went ahead and pressed this, and look, they came out pretty good, right? So these dark charcoal gray lines, they're lined up pretty well. So the little trick with the ruler is definitely worth it. Go ahead and do that. If you're working with this pattern, you can still see my markers here, my marker lines, and I think they came out pretty straight. The only problem with this grate was that whenever I was putting it together, I think this is my fabric, not the pattern. This little wonky linen right here, it keeps shifting. If you can see, I had to add little bits at the end. You see that extra seam? Because it was so short. And sometimes that happens if the machine's shifting things or if I didn't pin something right. I really think it's just this fabric. But hey, if you come short on any patterns, an easy fix is just go into your, instead of cutting and picking it all out, what I do is I go into my scrap bin and then I just add another piece right here. So I have all these extra scraps from cutting my fabric. I just went ahead and added a piece, and I'll trim the excess off whenever I'm ready to line it up. And that's a good way to not waste any fabric, and also it's not going to show later. You know, these little seams right here, it's a little visible right now because of the lighting and everything. But once it's all pieced and quilted, you're not going to be able to see that seam unless it's some type of directional fabric and you have to go and completely take it out and start a new piece. Usually with plain solid colors or non-directional prints, it's really easy. So that's what I did, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to the truck. Alright, so I am done, if you can believe it. I've been here for hours. I don't even know what time it is, but I am done. So if you can kind of see, let me see. Let me move this chair over so you can see the whole truck. And you know what? I really love it. Look at how big this thing is. Look at how amazing. I love it. So it's like a forest green, dark green, with this wheat colored linen, and on a light cream background. It's got like a light gray for the windows and a charcoal here under the car. I don't know what that part is called. And then the gray tires. So I love how this came out. I did not expect it to be so big, but it's amazing. So that shows you how large this quilt is going to be. It's going to be a huge throw quilt for my living room, and I'm really happy with it. So just a few more blocks. We have the pumpkin, we have the stars, and then now I believe it's the sashing, and then just piecing it all together. So this is going to be really nice. And let me see, sorry, these fell down. Let me show you what this truck is gonna look like next to these pumpkins. You see how cute that is? So, so, so cute. And then the stars complementing the greens with lighter colors and the orange. So really good pattern. Would usually probably take a couple of days to do this on my off time whenever I'm not teaching the girls or something. But I'm glad I knocked it all out today. And I just have the piecing now. Alrighty, so here she is again, this beautiful truck. And you know, whenever I was picking out the fabric for this, I was kind of concerned that the high contrast of this sweet color with the dark forest green would not go well. But you know what? I love the way it turned out. And this block is just, it's worth the whole quilt pattern, just having this block. I think it would be really fun to make even just a quilt with trucks on it, or you know, for a farmer friend, or a guy, if you're quilting something for a man, one of your family members. This is just a really great block to have. So even if you don't plan to make the whole quilt and just plan to make the truck, it's definitely worth it for this pattern. I love how it came out, and I can't wait to have it all together. Okay friends, so there's a lot of sewing to do with this quilt. I'm gonna go ahead and break up this video into 2 parts. So I hope you'll be back to see the second part with the big reveal of the Patchy Pumpkin Farm quilt, and that you'll go pick up the pattern yourself and sew with me. It's been a lot of fun. I hope that you learned something, that it was entertaining. So I hope that you'll go ahead and like this video and subscribe, and that you'll be back in a couple more days for the part 2 of this video.